is Donald Trump calling for the abolishing of immigration judges. I don't know exactly how this would work, but there has to be some process for adjudicating the asylum claims of people unless we essentially roll back the asylum laws and say that there cannot be any asylum in this country, that we will reject any folks who are subject to the myriad of reasons why we might offer them asylum in this country, who, of course, narrowed the opportunities for asylum for largely people from Latin and Central America in terms of domestic abuse or fear from gangs. But here's Donald Trump. Here's another solution to this. Just get rid of the judges so that there's no way to adjudicate these, I guess. I mean, it's gobbledygook, but let's listen.
And what we have to do is Congress has to meet quickly and make a deal. I could do it in 45 minutes. We need to get rid of chain migration. We need to get rid of catch and release and visa lottery. And we have to do something about asylum. And to be honest with you, I have to get rid of judges. Every time, and you won't even believe this, Mr. Secretary General, you catch somebody that's coming illegally into your country, and they bring him to a court. And
they bring him to a court. Can you
And the
believe
Secretary General of NATO's like, yes, this is crazy.
Oh, my God.
I mean, who ever heard of such a thing? You have courts? We don't do that in the Eurozone.
No, we have large tubs of water. We just throw them in. And if they float,
they might be getting close to that in some areas.
It's possible.
Just for the record, the number of people who are granted asylum by judges right now is fairly low.
Oh, it's I don't think it's certainly not higher than 30% of the cases that go in. I think it's somewhere between 20 and 30% is my understanding. But it slows the process down that they have to contemplate whether, I mean, this is just, absurd, and it's not a legitimate proposal, of course. None of it is. It's all absurd. It really, Donald Trump is running on his strength. He is returning and reverting to the mean, which is we're going to attack. I mean, this is where he rode down that escalator. The one thing that really resonated from his opening speech when he ran in 2016 was that they're sending over their worst rapists and whatnot. I'm sure some of them are good people.
It's his leitmotif.
Indeed. And speaking of that motif, here is Chris Kobach, the possible pick for Trump's immigration czar. Recall that Chris Kobach was laughed out of multiple courts on his attempt to disenfranchise voters. And this guy really has it in for non-white people and their ability to vote. He was a charlatan going around to various counties, I think, across the country, getting them to dump people from their roles and then offering his legal services to represent them in the court cases that proceeded, and then lost the cases. But here is Chris Kobach on with Lou Dobbs.
And this one is deploy immediately dozens of immigration judges, as well as a fleet of passenger planes, and the thousands of empty mobile home trailers that the United States owns right now and is attempting to sell at bargain prices on the internet. Instead of selling them, deploy them to border cities and create processing towns that are confined. And so when someone comes in and falsely claims asylum, we don't release them for 6 months onto the streets of the United States. We process them right there in that camp where they have the 3 square meals, they're living in a nice mobile home, and then as soon as they're done, as soon as the claim is rejected, they're on the next plane back home. And then the people back home suddenly realize, hey, he just left here 2 weeks ago and yet he's back. Maybe going in these caravans isn't such a great deal anymore.
All right, so the theory is that what we're going to do is build areas that are obviously we're going to have to put fences around them. And what it will do is it will sort of concentrate them in these camps. That's what we're looking to do. We're going to try and concentrate in these crossing towns, concentrate them in these camps, and they'll have nice little trailers to live in, and we'll give them $3 a day.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, indeed. And
Maybe we'll give them some work to do.
this whole theory
Maybe
that
work is the real freedom.
this whole theory that they're going to get sent home 2 weeks later and tell all their friends, like, don't bother going, again, either is purposefully ignorant or just completely uncaring as to the situation that forced them out of the country in the first place. The reason why you get people who get booted from this country and then they come back again and attempt to come in is because their living conditions, their situation in which they are returned to is untenable. So even the traveling itself becomes a way of escaping that. And so the bottom line is we've seen the benefits of actually providing aid to these countries. There's plenty of data to show that as we provide more aid to these countries, they have the ability at least to protect some of their own citizens. And but it just goes to show that there's a lot of disingenuousness here. I mean, none of this is for reals.
Fascism is not genuine.
And
It's
they're
usually in the road
basically-
to its fascism.
They're basically doing what he said already. Like, a small number of people get out on parole. Most people are kept in what they call hileras, or ice boxes, which they keep very, very cold on purpose so that people will give up and go back.
And that's why we also have now something at least 15,000 children that we're warehousing, because they've also scared the relatives of those kids from coming to pick them up. So that's all been mission accomplished, ladies and gentlemen.